Today we will be dealing with the statistical functions using Excel. I hope all of you know what Excel is and how it helps us into our day-to-day life when it comes to dealing with data. Now, how to construct a statistical formula. So that is what we have to look now. Now here I have given a picture of the Excel sheet where there are lots of data, and I have given a formula over here that if you read the formula, it is equal to variance. In the parenthesis you have your cells selected. So as any other formulas, you can construct the statistical formula by using an equal to sign, the function name, and then you can put the arguments in the parenthesis. That is, you can select the cells that should be that should be calculated. So hence according to this example, you will get the variance of the data from the cell B8 to B75. Now, let's see what are functions, arguments, and return and result. What are these terms? Now, the general format of a function is given as equal to function name, and in the parentheses you get arguments as said earlier. Now, what are arguments? Arguments are variables that are used by the function to calculate the result. Arguments appear in a specific order. And what is syntax? An example for the syntax is given over here. This is a syntax. Okay. Now, what is the result? The final value that is being calculated by using this function or this particular syntax. Now, algorithm is a step-by-step procedure. Of course, you know what is algorithm. Okay, so I'm going to move to what the sum function just to show the example. Now, the syntax for calculating the sum of a particular range or a set of data is equal to sum. In the parenthesis you can provide your range, or you can give it as sum in the brackets num1 comma num2, etc. That is up to you. Or you can use your function wizard, which we will learn later. Now we will create or will construct this syntax. Okay, now so I'm going to give you an example. So in the example, it is given that you have to find out the sum of the cells from B2 to B8, and finally you have to multiply it with the result, multiply the result with 3. Okay, fine. So let me see. You now, this is the data that is given over here. So it's from cell B2 to B8, and what I'm going to do is here I'm going to keep the cursor equal to sum brackets. Now this is the argument that I've given, multiply it by 3. Let me see what I get. The answer as 78. Okay, so just see in the toolbar, this is the toolbar or the formula bar, sorry, no, this is the formula bar, and the formula bar, as you can see, this is the formula that I have given, and I got the answer as 78. Okay, so that is about your formula. Now let's move on to function wizard. Okay, now this formula can be taken from the function wizard also. So a function wizard is a shortcut to all the functions in Excel, and here we use the FX toolbar button that I will show you, and that walks you towards the function. So see, when you insert a function or when you click the FX toolbar, what you affects in the toolbar, what you get is this dialog box where you can select a function. See here you can also select sum, and then you will get your answer immediately. Okay, so after that, after selecting sum, you can't simply select sum, you have to select your arguments too, right? So that we will check, or we will find out more about the function wizard when we use the average, that is a statistical tool, to find out the average of a particular data. Let's see what are the arguments. Oh, what is the syntax, sorry. Now What is an average? I hope all of you know what an average is. It returns the average, or it is also called as the arithmetic mean of the arguments that is given. Now the syntax is very simple. Average, in brackets you can write number 1, number 2, number 3, etc. um, or you can, you can give the range also, so that range is not specified over here. It's fine. Now we will move on to an example. Now the example is that we have to find out the average of the data that is given over here. I'm going to write my data as 10, 7, 9, 27 and 2. Right. Okay, so this is my data. I have asked to find out the average. So for finding out the average, I'm going to the toolbar. Now in the toolbar, see, I have this function, so that I clicked on the function. Again, dialog box just appeared, what I showed you like earlier, and in the dialog box you can select your desired function. So before selecting, what you have to do is select a category. There you can select your statistical. Okay, now there are lots of other tools also, like financial, date and time, math and trigonometry, but for us it is statistical, so select that. Then from select function you can select average, click on OK. Then you get another dialog box which is called as function arguments. In that you can specify your range. Okay, now the range is already taken over here. It is 10, 7, 9, 27 and 2. Okay, fine, so that's okay with me. So if this is the range, fine. Then press OK. So here is my answer. The answer for this data, that is the average of this data, is 11. Okay, so that is how you find out the average by using what, Excel. Now let's find out how to find the mean. Okay, now I hope you all know what is median. Median returns the what median is the number in the middle of the set of numbers. That is, half the numbers have the values greater than the median and half have the values less than the median. So all these things you have studied in your theory classes. Now the syntax for median is given as median. You can either construct this, or what you can do is you can move on to your Excel, and then okay, now here data you can, so here I'm not going to show the construction method. Now you can type in some values over here, or I think you can just take these values, copy it over here, and then find the median of this data, particular data. Now what you're going to do is take the function bar, insert it, and from that you will get what, your median. Let's see where the median lies, somewhere in the M. Oh, there. Now you press median, press OK. This is what you have to calculate, or you have to find the median of that particular data. Press OK, you get 9. So see, now 9 is a median of this particular data. Okay, fine. So that is how you find out median, by using the function wizard. Now let's see what happens when you are asked to find out the standard deviation. Now the standard deviation estimates is a standard deviation based on a sample. The standard deviation is a measure of how widely the values are dispersed from a standard value. Okay, now I hope you all know the formula for standard deviation, but here see in Excel you don't need all those formulas. Within a click you will get the answer. So let's have a look at the example. Now suppose 10 tools stamped from the same machine during a production run are collected as a random sample and measured for breaking strength. The example may be easier to understand if you copy it into a blank worksheet. So yeah, now we are going to copy this data. Now these are the 10 tools. while the strength is being measured, this is the strength that is measured, and I'm going to copy these data into my Excel sheet right now. Yeah, so this is the data that I have copied from your from the presentation. Now what I'm going to do is, again, I go to the FX. Here already I have set the category as statistical, and then I'm going to find out my standard deviation formula from here. So I hope you remember what it was. What was it? Yes, ST. What is it? Yeah. So when you see, you have a lot of standard deviation formulas over here, so you have to pick the correct one. So let's look again to your STDV. See, we have that. So this is the one that you have to use. It is standard deviation based on a sample. You have so many others, but for the time being, you don't have to, look for these ones. So this I'm going to take into consideration, and then I'm going to take the arguments, press OK. Now this is the standard deviation that I get, and it is 30.10648. Now moving on to now you might have noticed that here it is a small difference over here. So when I copied the data to my worksheet, see, all these numbers for me, it was a bit difficult, so there was small mistakes when I copied this data. So regarding my data, the answer was correct. Okay, so just use the formula and you will get the answer. Now you have to find the correlation between two data set. Now in correlation, what is correlation? Now correlation is used to determine the relationship between two variables. Okay, now here when it comes to Excel, we have array 1 and array 2. For example, you can examine the relationship between the location's average temperature and the use of air conditioner in that particular area. Now the syntax is correl, and you can, in the parentheses, you can write array 1 and array 2, and it will find the correlation between array 1 and array 2. Actually, array 1 and array 2 means the what about it represents the variables. Now array 1 is a cell of range of values. We know array 2 is also a second cell of range of values. Now I'm going to consider another example. Suppose given that you have given two data sets, the population density and the death rate of a particular area. Let this be the density and this be the death rate. Now you are asked to find out the correlation between the two. Now let's see, let's take our Excel and find out what we get. Now as you can see, I have typed in all the data over here. So that is this column represent the density, and this is the death rate. So I must find out whether there is any correlation between the density and the death rate. Okay, fine. So what I do is I go to the function, and then I find out what my correlation is. So I'm going to find out the correlation tool over here. Yes, I got it. So after that, a dialog box appears. So here in array 1 you have to give the density, and in array 2 you will have to give the death rate. Fine. So it's, yeah, now this is the correlation that I got. It is 0.99716. that is the correlation, and I think that is pretty much a positive correlation. So there is so these two variables, that is density and death rate, are correlated. I hope you know why I said that, because in a correlation, if you get something more nearer to 1, that means it is a perfect correlation. If it is 1, then it is said to be a positive correlation.